Hello, creative freelancers and solopreneurs. I know that most creative freelancers want to do less, feel better, and earn more. One of the ways that you can do that is by effectively managing your clients' expectations. How do we do that? How do we manage client expectations, and why is it even important? Welcome to Coaching for Creatives. I'm McKay. I'm your host of this live broadcast that I like to share with you every couple of weeks some tips, some tricks, some ideas, some information, something to think about for your creative business that might support you in having more success or at least feeling better. I'm going to tell you a couple of little stories about when it hasn't worked. And a large part of why I'm sharing this is my own experience being a client and hiring other digital marketing or creative services like photography or videography or copywriting, and what has been the biggest challenge and what has worked really effectively, both for who I'm working with and hiring and also for my clients. One of the clients that I work with, he is an event photographer and videographer, and he built his business from the ground up as a solopreneur, as a freelancer, going out, hustling, getting lots of event photography gigs, building really strong relationships within his community. And it worked, and he grew, and he started getting lots and lots of clients, and wanted to keep serving his clients on a deep level, but just simply did not have the amount of time to do it as a freelancer or as a solopreneur. He decided to start onboarding affiliate or associates, having junior shooters and even senior photographers come on board, and changing his business model from being a freelancer to being more of an agency model. And the hitch in this whole plan was that he actually did not have a clear plan for how he was going to communicate that change to his clients. He wasn't managing his clients' expectation. And what happened was he would book an event and book a gig, and then he would send one of his senior photographers out. They would do a fine job. The images would be great. The quality is great. The coverage is great. The deliverables were met. Everything about the contract was delivered, except the client had the expectation that it was going to be him. It was going to be his personality and their chance to connect with him and schmooze and relate and engage with him. Even though the client got exactly what they contracted for and everything was delivered, no problems whatsoever, the client still felt disappointed in the service because he didn't have a clear way of communicating the change that was happening, of managing those clients' expectations, that it wasn't going to be him actually shooting the event and that it was going to be someone else. We can learn from that if there's going to be a major change or a shift in how your regular clients are doing business with you, you want to have a clear plan. You want to know exactly how you're going to move them through the transition so that you can help them manage their expectations. Generally, disappointment only happens when there's a gap between what you thought was going to happen and then what actually happened. And none of us want to disappoint our clients. I think all of us who are service providers, where we are putting our hearts and our passion and our skill and our creativity into our work, we really want our clients to be happy with us. And managing their expectations is one of the ways that you can do that. I have another client. She's in the wedding photography industry. She has been working with me for a little while now and has had some great success. She's starting to be booked up well in advance. Even through the pandemic, she was still getting shooting opportunities when it was COVID safe and she was following all the protocols, but she was still growing and building her business such that this summer she is pretty booked up. She's got some great clients coming in. And then she discovered just around the new year that she is pregnant, which is amazing and a blessing, and she couldn't be happier. but it means that she is going to be expecting right around June, July, and August, her busiest times, her busiest season. How is she going to meet and manage those client expectations? It was a struggle for her, and she didn't know how she was going to approach it. She brought it to the mastermind meeting, and she brought it to one of the Ask Aura Anything sessions, and we helped to guide her and find a way for her to have a very clear picture in how she was going to communicate and how she was going to manage their expectations, the kinds of options she would offer them, so that she was crystal clear in how to communicate with them, how to move them through the transition, and how to set them up for feeling served and for both of them having a successful way of connecting with each other. And it turns out that all of her clients are totally a yes for the options that she gave them. They're excited for her, and they're still excited to be working with her. Again, we see the power of relationship, that even when things change and expectations have to be adjusted, that if you come to that with a clear vision for yourself and you have a plan for how to help people move forward, and you can tell them exactly how it's going to go and what it's going to look like, it just helps the other person feel taken care of, that they can trust you, that they are safe in this disruption or in this change or in this process. Many of us who are in the creative services industries are often working with relatively new buyers. We're marketing to other small businesses, other freelancers, entrepreneurs, medium-sized businesses, when a lot of times the decision makers, maybe they haven't hired our creative services. Maybe they've never hired a videographer or an illustrator or a designer. Maybe they don't really know how to even do that, how to have a discovery call or a creative brief meeting or a sales conversation. They're totally new to it. And that feeling when you're really new to something and you feel a little bit intimidated and uncertain and you're not sure how it's going to go and there's some anxiety, that feeling is not a great place to make a clear decision from. That feeling of uncertainty, can I really trust this person? That's not a really great foundation for building a long-term client relationship. As much as we can eliminate all of that anxiety and uncertainty, even in our discovery calls, even in our sales calls, by just having a very clear plan for what it's going to look like in that meeting, or what it's going to look like if you work together. You want to have that mapped out so that you can be the guide for them, that they can trust you to move them through that process in a way that's going to deliver their desired outcome. I get it. We work with all different kinds of clients, and managing expectations for all different kinds of clients can feel overwhelming. However, it is absolutely possible to set up a standard or set up a clear path that is your ideal path, and then there can be variations on it. If it's feeling like I don't even know where to start with getting clarity on how to manage and set expectations, I get that. It can be challenging to figure out. Here's exactly how you do it. You sit down and you imagine what is going to happen. What are some of the key stepping stones to get you to the end game? One of my instructors way back at the beginning of time when I was still in photography school said that every conversation needs a roadmap. And if you're looking at a roadmap, or you're looking at even on your GPS and asking Google Maps to try to guide you somewhere, Google Maps wants to know two things. They want to know, where are you right now and where are you going? It can't even tell you the possible routes to get there until those two things. For you, every conversation, stop and think about, okay, where are we at the beginning of the conversation? What is my client or prospect thinking or possibly feeling right now? And then what do I want them to think and feel and do at the end of this conversation? Do I want them to sign a contract? Do I want them to look at a proposal? Do I want them to send me the next batch of images for me to work on? What is the next thing that you want them to do? The exact steps are: where in the roadmap, where are they starting from in terms of their feelings and their thoughts, and where do you want them to end up in terms of their feelings and thoughts and actions? And then you just want to think about, okay, the first step is always helping your co-partner, whoever you're in conversation with, feel seen and heard. I recommend that your first step is always going to be about reflecting back where you think they're at. Taking a temperature check so that you know that you're starting in the right place with your conversation. Step number 2 would be, is the outcome where you want to go? So I would make sure that they are actually engaged with, hey, by the end of this call, I'd like us to be ready to sign a contract. Does that sound good with you? Hey, by the end of this call, I want us to have clear next steps for how this project's going to go and deadlines on them. Hey, by the end of this call, I'm going to have a proposal ready for you to share with the board. Make sure that they're engaged with getting to that destination with you. And then each step that you feel like you want to hit as a milestone, you want to have that mapped out in your mind. Of course, if it's a challenging conversation, if it's a sales call, if it's something like that, you want to really map that out. For casual conversations, it might just be enough to take a breath and to think about, where might this person be starting in this conversation, and where would I like them to end up? And by doing that, you can manage the expectations of the conversation and help manage your client experience so that people are not disappointed. They are, in fact, delighted. If you want help with that, if you're struggling to figure out how to have conversations, if you're not sure how to manage your clients, if you need help in getting clarity in your creative business, please reach out, book a call with me. It's businessofcreativity.ca/advisor. Book that call with me and let's have a conversation about your creative business and how you can have more clarity and delighted clients as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to hear from you. If you're watching this on the replay, what are some of your tips? How do you manage your client expectations? And maybe even what are some of your challenges? We'll see you here next time on Coaching for Creatives. Thanks so much. I'm Aura McKay.